One thing we gotta remember, right? Is that our past is our present and our present is our future. They don't look for us to succeed, man. What we do now can affect us. They look for us to fail now. We gotta do better though. Let's start with the examination of our educations.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of For the Culture. We got two great guests here today. Myself, first. To my right, Mr. Tony Roberts. To my left, Mr. Anthony Leverette. Said the name right? Leverette. All right. I knew I was gonna say it. Right. Appreciate y'all coming. First, I want to thank everybody. For last weekend, we had a lot of people that were involved. We had a lot of people show support. We had a lot of people come out. So I appreciate everybody coming and showing love. If you didn't make that one, man, just know we're going to continue to have them. We're going to continue to do big things for the community. We're going to continue to help people out. We got our back to school drive. We're going to be giving away 100 books with 100 supplies. So just I wish someone had color. 100 books with 100 supplies. So if you're looking to get with that right there, just be on the lookout. We got that coming. So first, again, I appreciate you guys coming, man. We got a lot that we're gonna talk about today. If you don't already, man, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Culture 101, and you can check out everything. I know a lot of people were saying, oh man, it's fuzzy on Facebook, you can't see everything. Well, that's what you're supposed to go to the YouTube for. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. It don't cost you a dime. Make sure you take care of that. First, let's, Mr. Tony Roberts, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Tony Roberts. I'm from Baltimore City. I work in the school system. I'm a published author, and I have an organization that works with the Baltimore City Police Department and helping kids with reading and writing.
You ain't mentioned nothing about school.
Well, I'm with the school system, I'm with Baltimore County Public Schools as well.
That's a big part, man, because I mean, especially the things that we have going on with our youth. We always say our youth is our future. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of things. Yes.
You're blocked. I can't because
okay, I'll move over. That's right.
Okay, absolutely.
We got a lot of things going on with our school system that we definitely need to make sure that we touch on. Mr. Anthony, you want to?
You want me to do the short bio or the long one? My name is Anthony Leverette. I am actually a substance abuse counselor. I obtained my master's degree at Compton State University. I've been working in the field for a couple of years and did an internship for a year. I've also worked with Mr. Roberts up at Milford Mills High School as an avid mentor tutor. And you know, I'm just glad to be down here to talk about the culture and some uplifting things that we can help, you know, bring some awareness to the culture.
Right, we definitely, that's what we're here to do. Here to educate and enlighten our people on so many different things. I mean, of course, we want our basic, what we started this off with was addiction and substance abuse and the things of that nature, man. And you know, both of y'all, you deal with more of the youth and you deal with more of the adults at this point in time. Is there a big difference? And I look at Baltimore as just, you know, as any city that's stuck in poverty. You know, it's one and the same. You go to New York, you go to Chicago, LA, or wherever you may be. When you have our people and we all crowded in one space, man, we all go through the same things. But is there a difference that you say that the children will go through and that it's when they hit adults? You know,
Absolutely. You know, I'll be transparent and use myself. You know, working in the school system, a lot of kids, they take to me because I share my story. I was a young man who grew up with a mother who was addicted to heroin, who was addicted to crack, had a father that was an alcoholic. Both my parents didn't complete high school, and growing up in that environment, you see what addiction can do. There was times we didn't go without food, there was times we didn't have electricity, and there was times my father wasn't around. And in dealing with that, I have a better understanding for what this newer generation is dealing with. Because so many of these kids, they don't know how to deal with, their parents on addiction. A lot of times we're told you're a child, stay in a child's place.
Right.
And a lot of times these habits transpire down to the kids. Like my brother, I have a brother who both his legs just were amputated, and he's addicted to heroin. And then,
What did the amputation have something to do with addiction? Or?
yeah, because my brother, he's diabetic, and you taking heroin and then doing 180 milligrams of methadone. All of that going on is not going with his chemistry in his body. So, and as we were coming here today, I was on the phone with him. They just did another surgery, so they cut him off at the knees. So he just got another infection. So now they up even higher. And it's like, yo, at some point in time, when are you gonna stop?
Right. I mean, now, is that something? How long has he been an addict?
My brother, it's funny you say that because he said he was dipping and dabbing before he went to prison. My brother was sentenced to a lengthy sentence of 25 with no parole.
Sheesh.
And on that 25, he did maybe 19 or 20 of it. And I even asked him, I said, yo, how did you get the drugs in the jail? He said it was easy.
Yeah, that's what we know. I mean,
Yeah.
dealing with the guards and everything else, and
That's
people looking
exactly,
at that money.
that's exactly what he said. And when he came home, he thought, as he said, it was just something to do to make the time go by in there thinking, oh, he's book smart. So when he came home, he figured, oh, I'll be able to kick this habit. And he hasn't. So my brother went to jail like in '89. Bro, he's been struggling with addiction ever since. He's never been able to walk away, even to this day right now.
Okay. Now that's another, like I said, that's something right there with our people. That it's hard to overcome that, especially the addiction of heroin. And then once you even get off of the heroin, they put you on the methadone. Now it's hard to get off of that. It's another.
His doses say that
people
like,
going to.
like I even asked him, I said, dude, I didn't even know they go up to 180 milligrams.
Right.
So if you're on 180 milligrams, you might well still be getting high.
Right.
They'll even take you up higher. The highest I've ever known was 210. 210.
Wow.
And stuff. I just came back from an opioid crisis summit. It was Wednesday down at the University of Baltimore. And, they talked about a lot of things the DEA is going to be doing and stuff to try to prevent, heavy drugs from floating in and stuff. They talked a lot about Mexico and China and everything. But when you look at the rationale of all this and stuff, you know what I'm saying? They're bringing in tons and tons of drugs, okay? So who's funding that? Who's funding it? It ain't none of us.
Right.
It ain't none of us because we don't have that type of capital to fund that. And they need to be real about the whole process. Okay, what are you doing to really stop it, slow it down, and whatever and stuff? You know what I'm saying? No matter what they put out there to you for you to gravitate to and stuff, there's a larger picture in the background. You know what I'm saying? And another interesting piece about that whole conference was they was telling us that the money that they seize in these large drug busts go back into treatment. And that was the first time I heard that. I was like, oh, really? And stuff. So, I got to do some homework about that and see how true that is. But when we talk about the opiate addiction and stuff, because I'm a 13-year, heroin addict that's been clean for 13 years. And I never relapsed. And when I talked to my clients about it, they said, he's saying you've been clean for 13 years, have you ever relapsed? I told them no. And they was like, how'd you do that? I was like, I had to put something in front of me that took more of my time and that I wanted to invest in. That's what happened with school. Because also, as I told you, I'm living well with HIV as well. So that's another component when you deal with substance abuse. You got your chemical, you got your physical, you got your social and everything and stuff. And it's just a hot mess, as we would say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And how can we deal with it? You look back at my culture and stuff from the late 60s to the early 70s and stuff. My uncles were in Nam. They were heroin addicts. First they were morphine. they were addicted to morphine. Then you come out after morphine and you addicted to, the street illicit heroin and stuff. Them cats all what they call firing up. You know what I'm saying? They all shot up.
Right.
And stuff. Never in my life would I have thought that I would be using heroin either when one of my uncles shot strychnine in his arm and died. But still I wound up using, but I never shot up. So what's the justification? I still use drugs. And as I was talking to Mr. Robinson, he had this show on what is addiction and how do we identify addiction and what was it? How do we identify addiction? How did you say it? Because I forget how you had it.
How do you identify addiction?
And deal with it. What was that? It was something like that, to that effect and stuff. And as we're saying, we look at a lot of things that happen in the community, in the social networking between children and adults, in the community that drive the need or the want for using and stuff. And like I told him on the show, I said at the end of the day, it's all about choice because you're influenced by these things, but still you have to choose whether or not you're going to do it. That's the bottom line and stuff. Just like I made that valid choice to use and stuff, regardless of what it was on the other end, relationship, economically, socially, whatever it was and stuff. I chose to use based on one of those triggers, but still I chose.
Now, so you clean 13 years, right? Now, like with most people, they can't be around, whatever it is that they were addicted to. Is there something that, you have an issue, you have a problem with it, I can't be around it or I can't,
So the one thing that we do, when a person is in treatment and stuff, the one thing that we constantly hammer them with is changing people, places, and things. But you still have to be realistic because everybody can't change these things. You know what I'm saying? You got people that are still going to come out of treatment and go back into the same old environments and stuff. But the most important thing is that if you change you and stuff, you can go anywhere and stuff. And that's just a clear statement. And again, if you choose to use and stuff, you know what I'm saying, your mindset, what we call it learned behavior. Learned behavior goes nowhere. It's always going to be with you. You know what I'm saying? But if you choose to act on learned behavior, even after you're clean and stuff, that's a choice that you're going to make anyway. Because, like I tell my clients, everybody in here know how to use and stuff. So why are we talking about knowing how to use? What we need to be talking about is getting back to life, dealing with life.
right?
Because you started using because you couldn't deal with something in life. That's why you started using, whether it was mental, whether it was physical, whether it was emotional, whatever it was. That's why you started using. That's why you signed on and said, okay, this is the choice I'm going to make and use. And I'm not going to say, well, I can say that it's reversible because in 1985 they classified addiction as a disease. And when people get their hands on something and it's being fed to you a multitude of times, it's all you see. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's trying to drive a little bit further to understand why is it classified as a disease. It's classified as a disease because there is a chemical piece, there is a physical piece, and there is a mental piece that is changed by the person using. But the point is that when people go through withdrawal or detox or whatever and stuff, it's just your body just trying to get back to normal. It's just trying to do what it normally does. And people are fighting against that. Now we have methadone. Now we have buprenorphine, Suboxone and stuff. Here it is, here you go. You don't have to deal with that anymore. Here, take this and you'll be okay. But now you got just as many people that's addicted to that crap too, man.
Right. That's even just as bad as worse than addiction. Because you got people doing crazy stuff for that as well. It's not just looking at it as, oh man, I'm alright because I'm on this, but now they hunting for the methadone and Suboxone as well.
And if they can't get that and stuff, now we got the synthetic prescription opiates that's overrunning it and stuff. And let me tell you something about the methadone program. The methadone program was not for people of color and stuff. I'm just gonna put that out there and stuff because people who have and people who have not. When you go, people who have it goes into treatment and stuff. Oh yes, I'm going to give you a better incentive to deal with A, B, C, and D. You know what I'm saying? Right. Then they say, okay, well, we can make more money by expanding it and giving it to low-income people because, Medicaid, Medicare is going to pay for it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So this is pharmaceutical thinking. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's such a big avenue of income for the pharmaceutical companies that provide it and stuff. You have some people who have been on methadone and have done well and stuff because they're choosing to do well. They're choosing to remove themselves. They're choosing to phase themselves off of it. But then you have other people whose thought process is still at the addictive level, to the point where, okay, if I don't take this, then this is going to happen, and I need this, and you can be dependent on that too. So what's the lesson of the two evils?
Right, exactly. Now, as far as the youth, do you see a lot of, I mean, 'cause they always say that the weed is the transition drug, and
The gateway drug?
Right, so I done smoked weed. I've never had the temptation to go further. So,
Right.
I'll be like, that's a false statement to me. But I guess when you, when you're in a area of yourself, you would have more expertise on that as far as to say, what do you see the kids leaning more towards?
I see the kids leaning towards pills now. They going straight to perks, e-pills is what they call them, and because it's easier for them to get, easier to hide,
Yep.
and it doesn't have an odor. Like with marijuana, they come to school, you can smell it.
And you're
Send 'em
totally focused on,
Right.
on the marijuana.
But with pills, a kid can take a pill and sit in your class and you not even know it.
Right.
And then it gets to the point where as though they get so addicted to these pills that when they don't get them, it's like now you start dealing with these other issues.
Right. Now they
uh,
start acting out.
And they start acting out. And then we wonder why sometimes when students are confronted, why they go from 0 to 100, it's because they own something. And a lot of them, they're dealing with issues. Like I said again, you got a lot of kids, they come to school and the issues going on at home are not being addressed. Like I said, when I went to school, I put a mask on. And when I would put my mask on, I might say, yo, Anthony, what's up? And we had dapping up. Hey, what's up, baby? I ain't telling him, don't let my mother at home shooting up all the money. We ain't got nothing to eat. I ain't telling him we got no lights on. I'm coming to school every day. I'm faking it.
Right.
So when these kids come to school, it's the same thing. They faking it. So you got to be so observant, like, well, why is this kid every time he come to my class, he got his head down?
Right.
Something's going on where this kid's tired.
Yeah, we definitely have to be more observant.
We got to be more observant. And a lot of times, you got 30 kids or 35 in a class. I have 30, if not more, in a class. It's kind of hard to focus on one student or that many when you're trying to teach a lesson that they want taught. You can't stop the lesson and say, let's stop this, let's deal with this, let's have an open discussion. Because sometimes they'll say, this lesson needs to be taught. And then you're under so much pressure from the school system to get certain things done.
To get certain information out there.
And then, they'll put up these barriers and stuff, you know what I'm saying? The word, dare I not say it, inappropriate. That's the word, inappropriate. Okay, that's inappropriate to be given to the students at this time and stuff. And I look at them like, okay, but you got students on Ritalin and all this other stuff like ADHD. Do you know what that is? And a lot of them couldn't tell you what it is. It's a methamphetamine. They don't realize we giving our children methamphetamine and stuff.
Terrible drug.
Terrible drug. The Mollies.
And as parents, we got to kind of understand it. I mean, we can't let them trap us and put us in that situation to say, oh man, you know what, your child needs this or your child needs that.
But most parents, unfortunately, don't do the research. We trust, as parents, we trust the doctors. Or we trust.
And their job is to make money.
And their job is to make money.
Right. And the way they make money is to give you that prescription. So now, of course, I'm going to tell you that there's something wrong with your child and that your child needs this or your child needs that.
I was taking this class when I was at Morgan State for special education. And we had a chapter that dealt with Ritalin and all these things. And we talked about, should these kids be on this? And the professor said that he felt like it was good for them. I felt totally different. Because again, it's like, once we put this kid on this, what's the next thing? How do they get off of it?
Right.
See, and that's the culture shock right there. Once we put them on it, how do they get off, right? So, going back to our kids, when you ask that question and stuff, and the marijuana is the most prevalent thing, right? why our children are so susceptible and addicted to marijuana and stuff. I'm not sure, but if y'all heard of fentanyl, okay. Fentanyl is also labeled to spray concoction and stuff because let me backtrack for a minute. Now, when fentanyl first came on the scene, fentanyl is not an opiate. I don't care how many ways to Sunday they may say it's opiate, it is not an opiate and stuff. It just do the same thing as an opiate do by helping to control and manage pain. Okay, but it is not a synthetic opiate. It's not opiate based and stuff. People keep talking about it and keep on saying, oh, it's opiate, it's opiate. No, it's an opiate because it does the same thing that an opiate will do to the opiate receptors. And at this point, smoking marijuana, I smoked marijuana too when I was in high school. But not like these cats smoking marijuana. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the thing about it now is, and I know you had a certain situation, I don't want to touch on that, but it's not just, I mean, everybody talking about, man, like I said, and you can say what you want to say. I know a lot of people want to disagree with me, but where was all of these different weeds at back when I was smoking? I don't remember, you know, you had, right, you got so many different, and it's this one gets you high, and this one gets you high, and this one gets you high. Like, man, you don't understand that they are putting different things, putting different chemicals inside of the drug, and now this is the effect that is having on them. I remember at one point in time, people could stop smoking weed just like they stopped drinking sodas. And now it's to a point where you are so addicted to this drug, and it's simply because they have other things than THC involved in them.
Absolutely.
And so many kids say it mellows them out. You're like, dude, you can't leave the weed alone. And they'll say, Mr. Roberts, it helps me to stay mellow. You know, for whatever reason, psychologically, this is what they believe. They feel like they have to have it. They feel like they have to do it.
Right. And this is what the culture is feeding them as far as using marijuana.
But here's the craziest thing. I keep saying they teach math, science, and English. Why don't we have classes on drug addiction?
Well, that's one of those elephants in the room that they don't, you know, it's like, nah, we don't want to talk.
You don't have a health class, but why don't we have a class, part of the curriculum, like they used to have sex education back in the day.
And driving school.
Driving school, home economics. Some schools still have home ec, but the majority do not.
Right.
There
You
are
gotta
no
go to a tech
classes,
school.
right?
And
There's
to
no
get
classes
that
dealing
education
with drug addiction. There's no classes that deal with, you know, sex education. I asked my students the other day, what is your definition of love? Nobody in the room can answer. Like, nobody. And I said, but everybody's quick to want to have sex and be grown. And it's the same thing with drugs. If you ask them about certain drugs, they won't know, but they want to use the drugs.
Right.
You know, because they're being told, this won't hurt you. You know, take this. It'll make you feel good. And that's what they do.
And the thing is that nowadays we are actually more educated than ever before, thanks to technology. We're no longer reading from left to right. We're reading across pages. Now we're just flipping pages, right? And there's so much information put out there and stuff, but you still have to look for what is more credible. You know, our children are more immersed in the labels of mental health. Okay, ADHD, learning disorders. You know, I'm bipolar. It kills me. It really does. I say if that's the case, we're all bipolar.
Everybody.
We all have some type of trauma, some type of stress. We all deal with that and stuff. Now it's gone to a point where, you know, you need this, you need that, you need the other and stuff. I have a lot of young clients in my program, and when they start talking about their level of stress, their level of trauma. Now, some of them go through some serious trauma, sexual abuse, physical abuse. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I identify that as something severe and stuff. But when you're just talking general life, on life term type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? You can adjust that. You know what I'm saying? And some of us choose not to because I'd rather be classified in a category with somebody that has a severe condition, and I will feel like my condition is just as severe as theirs. Right. So now that we can sign on to the same contract and stuff, you know, it's hard to separate it and try to get people to understand your problem may not be as severe as you think it is. And so, oh, no, because we got to the discussion about methamphetamines, and I told them about the Ritalin and stuff. Every parent that was in the room about 4 of them, their children had some type of learning disorder or ADHD. It was on the written.
Right.
And I was like, what do y'all think about that? You know what I'm saying? I want your true feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because that is just as addictive as anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And again, as parents, we definitely gotta step our game up and be more aware of our child's emotions, and not just think that they're going in the room by themselves, closing the door. And I got one of them things like a guy say on next Friday, no locked doors. You can't. Nah, ain't no locked doors about it. You know, I want to make sure you want to see what you doing. I want to know what you watching on YouTube. I want to know what they saying on that cartoon. What is the message behind that song they playing on the radio? And if I can't understand it, or if I see that it's a negative or something, I don't have no problem with other people doing what they do. But me, I'm gonna do mine a certain way, and I also understand that it's with our kids, not gonna have them forever. So what I just try to do is just install certain values, and so that way when you are on your own, because eventually they'll be on their own, just like we were children at one, and now we're on our own to do what we want. So now it's like, okay, when you're able to do what you want to do, how you want to do it, now I want to make sure that you can make the proper decisions. You can make, you can know the difference between right and wrong. You can understand when somebody's trying to get over on you in certain things. So, and then we not, again, like you say, we're not teaching these things inside the school. It's hard to go to a school and really see education that the kids will be learning or will need once they get out of school. The things that are going to get them through in an everyday, life situation.
And the crazy part about it is, nowadays when you go to college and stuff, you can get credits for life skills. You know what I'm saying? What about our kids? What life skills are we giving them? And stuff like you were saying, home economics, sex education, everything and stuff. When I went into the field, when I first went back to college and stuff, my whole purpose was to be an educator, to get certain things back into schools and stuff, because I was, like I told you, I was an addict and stuff, heroin addict and stuff, and I was dealing with HIV at the time and stuff. So that set a whole different tone to me when I started to recover the right way, and started to learn that there are better things to do with your life than advocating for certain things to help the next generation. And so, because had I not went through what I went through when I was in high school and stuff, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us, we have a good foundation and stuff. Look at Mr. Robbins and stuff. Because his foundation, regardless of what he went through, because his foundation was still strong, he was able to rebuild and stuff. Look at Robin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, I heard you speak on it twice, and I want to make sure we get to that before, because I'm ready to cut the live feed off. The HIV. Tell us more about that situation.
Well, with HIV and stuff, I got sexually transmitted. It wasn't through substance abuse and stuff. But the thing in nature is that when I was fully diagnosed, I had it for 10 years and stuff, and it was about to turn into full-blown AIDS. And thank God for the VA system. I got to say that, because I went down to the VA and I passed out in the emergency room. And the triage nurse that I knew down there, that dude picked me up off the floor, took me back to the emergency room.
Hold on, I'm gonna stop just so everybody knows. We ain't stuck in the 90s. There is a difference between HIV and AIDS.
Right.
It's a big difference. So
absolutely. HIV is the virus itself. AIDS is what happens when it's not treated and the virus starts to multiply into its millions of parts. And if you're not educated about HIV and stuff, it's a very smart virus, very smart. It's the only virus that attacks your body and replicates more cells. Not like cancer will go in, kill the cells, continue to kill the cells. No, this goes in and turns your immune system, CD4 cells, into factories to produce more cells. You know what I'm saying? That's why you go from HIV to AIDS. So that whole process with me going through recovery and stuff, I think that was the hardest thing, because I was near death. I was near death. And because people had sacrificed, went through research, and got down to 1 pill a day, that's all I take, is 1 pill a day. I've been taking it for 13 years. And because that treatment works so well, I don't have to focus on no HIV. All I need to do is focus on me being a productive person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you still have people who are newly diagnosed and stuff, and the world come crumbling down. And I can't take that away from them because the emotional impact of them having that virus and that it still has the magnitude to kill you if you don't do what you need to do.
Right. So it's more or less a thing where we got to catch it. It's just like cancer. So it's something that you have to. That's why we tell people, man, look, make sure you go get tested.
So I have a question for you. I just saw where Howard University is making the LGBT one of their classes or courses. In the high schools, we advocate for the LGBT. So why are there no sex education classes?
And the thing is that
That makes a lot of sense.
I know.
Right.
If you begin from the whore and stuff, you'll be able to understand everything that branches out from it.
Because again, what happens if two students get together, something's transmitted, they don't know, they haven't been educated, and you're looking at suicide could take place.
Absolutely.
And we've had that in our community, where brothers find out that they got the virus, and now they don't understand that. Look, man, there are things that can help you.
And then I even wonder if the school system would even be held responsible because you're promoting this. And I'm not saying like anything is wrong, but if you're going to promote something, how do we not have the educational piece a part of the curriculum?
And that's true. You know what I'm saying? When we were in school, we knew what VD was. We knew what herpes
There were
was.
classes.
You know what I'm saying? We understood that and stuff. Because I can tell you, the first time I got burnt, I knew exactly what I had. I knew what I had.
Right.
Nowadays, you know, you got to go online.
Yeah, that's what they got Google for now. Right, because they're not teaching you these
That's
things.
why I tell the students that I said, man, I don't understand how nobody can ever fail. Like when we came up, we had to actually go to a library.
And my father had a bookshelf.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
My arms full of encyclopedias.
Now, right, you just grab the phone and boom, it's right there. So
It's
I'm like,
there.
how can you fail anything? I just don't get it.
Yeah, so the knowledge is out there, and again, with the HIV, and not just HIV, but all diseases, all the sexually transmitted diseases. I always tell people, man, I mean, through the times, I can remember being in high school, and condoms was like $3, $4. And now condoms are still like $3, $4. So it's like this is the only thing that has not gone up, but we still choosing to not protect ourselves.
We have some schools that give condoms away. We just had a 9th grader that had a baby, and again, there's no sex education classes.
And the thing is, let me add this to it too. You know what I'm saying? That famous word of taboo still is in play. No matter where you go, taboo is still in play.
Right.
Either it's taboo, or it's harm reduction, or it's inappropriate based on age.
Right.
These are the three things that they drive on and stuff that kind of tie your hands. We see there's a problem. Clearly there's a problem and stuff. Why are you sitting here trying to keep my hands tied when I'm willing to address the problem, to educate students or whoever I need to educate? Why are you keeping my hands tied? You know, oh, it's not your place. Oh, this don't need to be done in this environment. This is what we get all the time and stuff. And then, you know, when we get, I don't want to use the term, but I am. When we get shitted on 24/7 and stuff, then we just withdraw from it all together and stuff. You know, you get tired of the fight and all the BS and stuff, and you just withdraw and stuff. And that's not a good thing. We got to keep on pushing forward. We really do.
Right.
Like they don't even want teachers to have any clue about students. Like if you're somebody who HIV, and you could be a 15-year-old student, they don't want the teacher to know. If you might have dealt with trauma where you witnessed your father kill your mother, they don't want the teacher to know. So my question is, if I don't know anything about this student that I'm teaching,
How am I supposed to do that?
how can I effectively reach him? Because let's say I approach a young man and I say, dude, come here. And I don't know this kid witnessed his father, automatically he has a problem with thought.
Right.
But I don't know this. So this kid go from 0 to 1,000 on me. Now it's like, okay, does he see me as his father? Is this kid going to attack me?
Right.
We don't know. And it's like, again, we sweep these things under the rug and they expect you to reach these kids, and it's almost impossible.
Well, hold up. Because right now we're gonna stop the live feed. Again, man, we about to get deep into this conversation. If you wanna, we're gonna definitely get into more than just STDs and the virus and addiction, man. We're gonna get into what would need to be studied at the schools. We're gonna get into relationships. Again, if you want to know more about this, you want to hear more, you got to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Culture 101. Again, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate the love and support, and we see y'all on the next one. Alright, yeah. Okay, so we can get back at it. I just wanted to make sure that we get with that. Share everything down.
So I'm ready for you to go up. I'm ready for y'all to go up here and take Wendy Williams' slot. Talk about some hot topics and stuff. Hot topics this Wendy. And stuff. You know what I'm saying? This ain't about celebrities, it's about real people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not saying that celebrities aren't real people and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But we deal with things that are still here and in your face. At the end of the day, those folks can go home and just talk about a topic and don't care either way. But we got to deal with it day in and day out.
But something you said, it is frustrating when someone like Mr. Ford, yourself, might have more knowledge than the people that they have in place, but they don't want help from some people.
Right.
And then you be like, well, how can you reach kids if you've never
Actually
been through this? How can you reach people who are struggling with addiction if you've never been a person dealing with addiction? And it's like, the people who make these laws, these rules, they have the credentials paperwork-wise, or I'll say degree-wise. But again, who do you think the kids gonna respect more? The person who has a degree, who's never been through it, or the person who's walked that walk?
Right. I mean, again, that's one thing that I say. I mean, you gotta have so much to be somebody like as a teacher or a law enforcement officer. And most of the time, where they get these people from, are not in the area that they're actually in.
Right.
So now, if you are a Baltimore police officer and you grew up in West Virginia, where there was 3 black people in your whole school, and now you see 3 white people, you know, throughout a weekly day, you know, you're looking at all black people as one and the same. And it's one of those things, it's just like teachers. You get a teacher who has never dealt with the black culture, never understood the things that the youth go through, and she's expected to teach these kids, and then she gets frustrated, or he gets frustrated because they can't deal with the situation at hand.
There is a documentary, and so I told you about it before, you might have already seen it, called Searching for Superman. This is when the charter schools first came on the scene, and they were doing lotteries and stuff for kids to get into school and stuff. Very, very serious, impactful movie and stuff, and it gives you the breakdown of failure from elementary school all the way up to college and stuff. And I mean, it was heartbreaking to hear this and stuff. And you know, my HBCU, Cobman, is right in the heart of Baltimore City, right on North Avenue and stuff. Morgan is my first love, Cobman is my forever love. You know, and my little t-shirt I got on under this has all my HBCUs on the back, but Bowie is on the front. You know what I'm saying? I love my HBCUs and stuff, but the thing is that if we are not fully supporting them as a galvanized community and stuff, then we're accepting the failure in the culture. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we send our kids to school, we make sure they have their uniforms or everything they need, then they come home with these lists. I need hand sanitizers, I need tissues, I need all this stuff. You know, I'm like, what the hell do you need all this stuff for? And so you go to school. You know,
It's interesting you say that because so many parents don't want their kids going to a HBCU. You know, they feel like a historical black college. Like, I'm not sending my kid there. No, I'd rather for you to go to Hopkins. I'd rather for you to go to the University of Maryland. Because for whatever reason, some parents, let me say that again, some parents feel the HBCU is not going to give their kid the advantage they need to survive. They feel like it has to be the white institutions. They feel like it has to be the Hopkins, the Marylands, the West Virginias, you know, these type, or the Harvards, and then like you go to Morgan, like there's no way you're going to be able to compete against these other
degree from
schools.
Morgan with somebody else from the University of Maryland, which is incorrect.
Yeah, it's all an individual. If that was the case, I mean, you got people with degrees from Harvard, and you got Jay-Z who has no degree.
Right.
You got people, everybody from Harvard's not a billionaire. And here's a kid from the projects. So again, it's in the individual, you know, and it's a shame that we don't, as you were saying, give the HBCUs the proper respect. You know, we want to get away from it.
Where was that? What was that? There was Morehouse, right? That just graduated with the fellow
Robert Smith
and stuff. You
People
know,
know nothing about.
they don't know nothing about it, right?
I made sure my
Why
class-
is it
Billionaire
that we know nothing about him? That was the first thing that struck me when he did what he did, and my thoughts. I'm like, okay, that's a great tax write-off. First and foremost, that's a great tax write-off.
Definitely is.
My second thing was this and stuff. Where are all the others? And I know that he was genuine about what he did,
Right.
and stuff. Why did it take you so long to do it? That was my first question. My second question is that you have a great deal of billionaire folk out there who could do the same thing and continue to keep this humanitarian piece going and stuff. Why not? You know what I'm saying? When I graduated with my master's degree, Oprah was at the royal wedding and Stedman was speaking at my graduation. And I'm like, what's wrong with this bitch?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And every time I think about it and stuff, that you know, I'm in between with it and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't there more, you know, African Americans who are very successful supporting our kids and helping to keep their loans down? That was awesome. That was awesome. If I had that kind of money, trust and believe I'd already have something set in stone that happens every year.
Now I'm not going to say that we don't, because here's the thing. If that wasn't publicly put out there, we wouldn't know nothing about it.
Right.
And this is the thing where they, and I say they, but there's some of our people in there too, so I would never say like a white man is totally in control, because some of our people get in control and don't know how to control themselves.
Absolutely.
But there's a thing where if it's like that tree in the woods, when it falls down, doesn't make a sound, nobody knows. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, well, there's a lot going on. But we have a lot of charter schools that our black millionaires are building, but they are not going to advertise these because they want to make it seem like it's so small. They want to make it seem like it's so insignificant that, of course, they don't want us to know about them, and they don't want that Morgan and that Howard. They don't want you to know that Morgan graduated with 90% of their kids. You know what I mean? They don't want you to know this. They want you to know that, hey, University of Maryland, you go there, and this girl went to University of Maryland. Now she's a doctor. You know, not knowing that her whole family has been doctors all their lives, and boom, that's how she got her route. So it's like, okay, they put certain information out there for us to know. Like now, again, it's our job as people. Just like we know we're not in control of the entertainment as far as the radios and the TVs and the newspapers. So it's our job as people to do shows like this, to do the word of mouth, to get this information out there so that our people can know. And to do the research, because like I said, man, if they don't know, then we can't blame them for it.
That was one of the questions I threw to my classes. I said, anybody know who Robert Smith is? No one raised their hand. I said, don't feel bad. I didn't know either.
Right.
Until
right.
it was announced. I said, because all we teach, Black History Month, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman,
Right.
but you got Rosa Parks or athletes, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Jackie Robinson. But here's this man who's a businessman. And I'm like, how could this go on and nobody not know who this person is? And this is one of the things, again, why we, as individuals, like you say, on the show, the culture, we have to put it out there, you know, and spread the word, because a lot of us just don't know, and we can't feel like we got legal responsibility on for them, because a lot of times people don't want us to know.
Absolutely.
And I was expecting that when you said all those names and looking at your shirt.
My shirt.
I you see, Muhammad Ali,
Yeah, I mean,
Jesse Owens.
And I do love that shirt, but
Right.
those are the ones that are always talked about.
The only ones. It's like there's so many other blacks that are doing great things that we do. But the crazy thing is, the moment a black person do something wrong, oh my God.
Oh yeah, his name is Polarized.
Even with the guy paying off the student loans, I don't feel he got the publicity he should have gotten. Whereas though, had he raped a woman or something,
Oh man, yeah, right.
he got it. That have been on the news over and over and over and over.
And to be honest, that really wasn't even on the news.
Right.
That was really just through our social media, in areas like that, which it should have been, a hot topic on the news where, hey, look, man. I mean, it's not too many people that's going about doing that, and whatever his reasons are, that's still a good deal.
Right.
A lot of those young men, they would have been paying that debt for 20 years.
Longer than that,
Wish
bro.
I would have been there graduating.
Right.
Because trust and believe.
And Morehouse, HBCU. So again, when you talk about these schools, you don't think they got billionaires or billionaires that graduated from Morehouse or more?
Well, they just showed you right there, right? But they never going to talk
They
about
never-
that, man.
Never.
They're going to make us, it's to the point where we have to be either a rapper or an athlete.
You just beat me to
He
it.
beat you
I was
to it,
gonna
and I'm
say,
coming there too.
if you go into a high school, a middle school, and say, what you want to be? I want to be like an NBA player like LeBron. I want to be like Odell Beckham. They're gonna name sports, or they'll name the music industry rappers. No one ever, you might have something to say, I'm gonna be a doctor, I'm gonna be a lawyer. But for the most part, and even in the school system, some of the schools are to blame because we don't push academics. Like you might be somebody who excel in the classroom, but the newspapers and everybody want to focus on the man that just had 4 touchdowns, threw for 200 yards. But we're not focusing on this kid over here who's academically, intelligent.
And one of the things that I do, and I would talk to students about and stuff, is the military and stuff. A lot of people don't like to use the military card and stuff. The reason I use the military card is because, yes, I came from a low income area and stuff. And had I not made that choice to go into the military based on what had happened to me growing up, being bullied, you know what I'm saying? The whole incident with, I was sitting there, my niece's father would cut all the boys' hair in the neighborhood because everybody couldn't afford to get their hair cut every 2 weeks. So he would cut our hair every 2 weeks. And this particular day, he had a .22 automatic rifle just sitting out on the head and stuff. It's about 8 or 9 of us in there and stuff. Everybody's hands have been on the weapon, they've been fooling with it and everything. My smart ass checks it. Is the weapon on safe? Does it have any bullets in it? I'm asking all these questions. Nobody else asked these questions. Nobody else even took the initiative to do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I did. But the gun went off when I put my hands on it after we had made all the precautions to make the doggone thing safe. And the bullet ricocheted and it hit one of the other guys in his eye, and he lost his eye and stuff. I think that was the most horrible, traumatic thing that ever happened in my life.
At what age was that?
I was 16.
Wow.
I was 16. And I went home and I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby, and I told my mother everything and stuff before the police even got involved. She knew everything.
Right.
And stuff. My mom was not a very highly educated woman, but you would have thought different.
Right.
When you seen how she handled that process with the police, with the lawyer, and that was Billy Murphy back then. I'll never forget it and stuff. He was a radical lawyer in Baltimore, and he got me off. I had to pay restitution, but the thing is, he proved to them that it was an accident and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it was not intentional because they were going to railroad me, bro. They was going to send me to jail. Send me up Shit Creek without a paddle.
I always say now you can't pay the fine, don't do the crime. So it's all about getting that lawyer, making sure you got that person that knows the law on your side,
Absolutely, and that's what propelled me to go into the military because, number one, how was I going to pay this restitution without having a job? You know what I'm saying? So I need to make sure that I had a stable income. So I'd already told them in the courts that I was thinking about going in the military. And it was a black female judge, and she was awful and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I went in, and it helped to build my discipline, you know, and it was great. Because I came back out and stuff, I was able to deal with shit, you know what I'm saying? Didn't know that the substance abuse piece was going to be following me down the line. But as far as getting back to life and being structured, never was without a job. I think I might have been without a job for maybe a week. That's the longest I've ever been without a job and stuff. And gave me structure to stay employed, you know, to stay a provider. You know, and this is something that our young people have gotten away from because they're, as we all have talked about, they're working on just survival skills.
Right.
Just survival. I need to eat, I need to sleep somewhere, I need somebody to partially give me some emotional or caring needs, and I need to be safe. And that's it.
Everything else is about.
Everything.
Now,
Don't you know?
I heard you speak on structure. Now, that goes hand in hand with foundation. And then working with the young youth, what do you see the average foundation? I mean,
A lot of kids struggle where there is no foundation. Because first of all, the foundation starts at home.
right.
And we have a lot of broken homes. And I say it all the time, like, in my class, I do a lot of open discussions. And I ask kids questions like, how much money do you think you'll need to survive? What if your mother got 2 or 3 kids and y'all keep wanting the new Jordans when they come out, but you don't know if your mother make enough money? Then you gotta have the new iPhone. Kids don't care, they don't have that discipline. There is no structure. If there's no man in the house,
Right.
and you got 4 boys, and you gotta work and be home, gotta work. So who's there with them?
Right.
They can have girls coming in the house.
They disciplining themselves.
They discipline
Of
themselves.
course.
So then when there is no discipline, now you come to me, and I'm saying, have a seat.
What?
Yeah.
You talk to me, like, dude, have a seat. You know, like, yo, what's wrong with you, man? Oh, no, I'm good. You know, they can't sit still.
Right.
Because if you've never had structure, then all of a sudden, you come in, and then you got the parents who want to be their friend. Turn the TV off, go to bed. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep the TV on, or they're in their room, and they texting the girl.
Like they got the phone.
They got the phones, all
Just
hours
good
of
to
the night. Social media.
We're playing a game.
Talk about taking a phone from a kid. You think kids got enough discipline where you say, everybody, give me your phone, place them on the desk, and y'all get them at the end of the day. Shh. Oh, no, you ready for the war, bro.
Yeah, you ready
Oh,
for
my
it.
mother, I need my phone.
Yeah.
I need to be able to talk to my mother. It's an emergency. You can't take them.
Yeah.
And the school system got it in place where you can't take them.
Right.
So if they can't even stay off of social media for a second, no foundation, no discipline at all.
Right. And that's the, to me, a big issue.
Oh, yeah.
And where if you don't have that foundation, it's like, you know,
Yeah, that's why I said it's almost a losing battle because everything starts at home. If that home piece is broken, and just think about it, how many women, when they have a baby, a lot of men stay and want to be fathers. Or women, because you got some women who leave.
yeah.
And the father got to be that person that take care of a kid. And you got a daughter and you don't know how to do hair. See what I'm saying?
Man.
Or you got to work and your daughter got to go to daycare, but you're not making enough money with daycare, like $300 a week.
Right.
There's so many of these things that are in place that takes the foundation piece out of it. So it's almost like the kid at a disadvantage right from the break. Unless, like the guy Robert Smith, his commencement speech, the one who gave the money, both of my parents are PhD recipients. Oh, no wonder.
Right.
You got that, that's foundation.
Foundation is built right.
But what if he had my situation? Neither one of my parents graduated high school.
Right.
So the likelihood of me going to college is little to none. You know, because it's like, I didn't see that growing up. You know? So it all starts at home.
And I'll piggyback on that, you know, next to Neil and stuff. Me and Tony, we got our degrees after the fact.
After.
You know what I'm saying? I was think I was over 40 when I got my bachelor's degree.
47 when I got mine.
If you ain't get the message by the end of that last line, then play it back, turn it up and listen one last time. This is for my